Hi, Clutter Fairy fans. This is the Clutter Fairy Weekly for May 14th, 2024. I'm your co-host, Ed Gumnick, and I'm speaking with Gayle Goddard, certified professional organizer and owner of the Clutter Fairy in Houston, Texas.
Hi, everybody. The Clutter Fairy Weekly is the webcast and podcast that digs deep into the clutter that piles up between you and the life you want to be living. We explore the habits and behaviors that lead to clutter, and we suggest strategies to slow the accumulation, reduce the collection, and comfortably manage the stuff we decide to keep.
If you're new to our Zoom meeting, we want to let you know that you can share your questions and comments via the chat feature, and I'll try to make sure Gayle gets to them before we move on to another topic. You can also use the raise hand feature if you'd like to ask a question or make a comment yourself via audio or video. And we are streaming the webcast live on Facebook as well, so you can ask your questions or share comments there, and I'll relay them to Gayle. We're going to start by recapping last week's Weekly Tittle, which was called Trial Downsize. The assignment was to view your space through a downsizing lens to look for opportunities to reduce your clutter. Let's hear from our participants in Zoom and on Facebook. Who conducted a downsizing audit on your space this week? Please let us know in the comments. YouTube viewer and frequent commenter CM shared this tittle report. Dining room downsize. I gave away the top half of the china cabinet, but kept the bottom half for storage. I kept the dining table, but gave away very thick and hard to store table pads. I replaced all tablecloths, which used to take me hours to wash, iron, and store, with linen placemats. I gave away all formal serving pieces and instead invested in pots and pans that go from oven or stove directly to the table beautifully. Half of the dining chairs I put to good use in other rooms.
CM, this is a great description of downsizing in place. You kept what you wanted and you released the excess. You broke up the china cabinet and you only kept the lower storage portion. And you even adapted your kitchen gear to serve dual purposes and release you from the need of serving pieces. This is exactly what I'm describing. It's a trial of how to downsize for when you actually have to move to a smaller place. And if you live with this lesser amount of things just fine, when you move, it's not as big of a shock to adjust to the lesser amount of stuff that you're going to use. And so what a great idea. You move some dining chairs out and use them somewhere else. You got rid of all of the hassle of dealing with the tablecloths and those table mats. I know what you're talking about. Those big, fat, thick, stiff,
Yeah.
like where do you put those things, right? So that was a really great one. Those are really great things to get rid of. And it really sounds like you didn't go small. I mean, you made a big change in all of the things related to the dining room, and now you have a much better, more manageable result. And super proud of you and really appreciate that example because it was a perfect description of what I was talking about.
The piece that impressed me the most was replacing formal serving dishes with more versatile pots and pans.
Right? Yeah, oven to table versions.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm in a very small space as well, and we do have some things that are for nothing but serving. And unfortunately, ours sort of go with the set, so I'm reluctant to part with any of them, but I might have to give that some thought, talk it over.
Well, and I've advocated over and over, you can break up the set. If you
Yeah,
don't want
it's
all
true.
of the set, you keep part of the set and set the rest of the set free. It may be the exact piece that somebody's missing on the other end. So, there is no dishes police or serving pieces police is going to come and yell at you because you broke up the set. So split it up, make it work for you. I mean, CM did the same thing. Like half the dining chairs are in the dining room and the other half are elsewhere in the house. Like she's using them as seating in other places. And so all of the things that she did were things that made the dining room less crowded, more easy to manage, and require less stuff. And it was a perfect example of what we were talking about last week. Thank you for sharing it with us.
CJ reports, didn't get to the tittle because we went away quickly for a short trip. However, a message from the cat sitter saying they were going to dig around in all the closed off spaces to look for a hiding cat nearly gave me a heart attack. So I have a newfound incentive to do the tittle this week.
Decluttering by cat.
CJ goes on to say, started looking around today. just before this meeting and found a few things to let go of as I consolidated.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Oh my God, the cat sitter's gonna walk around in our clutter. Yeah, because the cat doesn't care. The cat will hide anywhere that is convenient to them. And so, yeah, whoops. Cat sitter sees a lot more than you think. When you have somebody coming in the house to take care of your animals, they get all up in your business. They can see it because the pets just see all of your stuff as a highway that they can run on and hide under and get into. And so that is hilarious. That is hilarious.
It looks like we're getting a lot of comments in the I didn't do the tittle but genre today.
We're
Barbara
up for
said,
it.
Barbara says, I didn't do the tittle, but I have downsized. I had a 4-bedroom house and I decided that 2 of those rooms would be empty before moving day. Everything went.
Oh, isn't that great? And so
Fantastic.
you were able to adjust to the new, to smaller space. Excellent. And that's, that's really forward thinking about planning the job. And you didn't move everything to the smaller place and then have to uncrowbar yourself out again. You figured it out while you had the space up front to get rid of things so that when you moved, you weren't making your life miserable on the other end trying to fix it all or get stuff out of the way. And so
Yeah. Figure
good
out how to
job. That was good
trying to.
planning and very successful, I'm sure.
Catherine reports a dream nightmare. My house was too large and space moving too was very small. And I kept hearing in the dream, too much stuff. Woke woke up overwhelmed of years of area clutter.
Oh, well, there you go. Now it's invading your dreams. That's not a good sign.
That is not good.
So, as you work on the clutter, perhaps you're going to improve your sleep because you're not going to have the same bad dreams as you're having right now. So I'm sorry that it's invading your peace. You definitely want to be able to sleep without being tortured by your clutter in your sleep. That's a lot.
I hate those dreams that are telling you stuff that, like giving you a list to giving you things to put on your to-do list.
Right.
I don't
Things you
like
have
that
to
kind of
deal
dreams.
with.
That is a nightmare. Being
Right.
given assignments in your sleep. Susie reports I had Pyrex and anchor hocking bakeware, but never used them, so I donated them to Goodwill.
And
That's
I'm
terrific,
sure,
and they're good stuff that someone is going to get a real bargain on at Goodwill, I think.
right? And collectors that collect that kind of stuff are going to find it and feel like they had a bonanza that day. So good for you, right? Like, yes, things are famous and yes, things are worth something and yes, things are valuable to somebody. But if you don't use them, it's really not worth it, right? Like, it's really doesn't mean anything. And so I think about that in my kitchen, when I had uh, what is valuable and important to me in the kitchen is the smallest list of things. You cannot imagine how little I use in my kitchen. And I am not a cook. And so all that stuff that helps people do stuff in the kitchen, I'm like, whatever, I'm never using that. Like, it
Right.
is
I need a
so not
plate.
important to me.
Gail needs a plate and a fork.
And a saucepan and one frying pan, and that's it. Like spatula, like that's it.
Jane says in the garage, I had 3 storage containers for inbound paper that staged to see if it's needed. Political mail, Medicare mail, phone books, etc. Last weekend, I went through them and let go of 1 container, and the contents went into the recycle bin. Who still needs phone books? That is
Nobody.
that is a right good. Yeah. Jane answered her own question by throwing them in the recycling bin.
Right?
Well,
Well,
and
and you
if you've got
got
any, I was gonna say, if you've got any paper phone books, they are so hopelessly out of date.
Mhm.
Even if they're a year old, they're hopelessly out of date because
Right?
so many businesses come and go so quickly, and so
And
yeah,
also, people don't have residential phones anymore. Like
right,
there's so many people not in the phone book because they didn't get a landline.
right,
And the phone book does not have your cell phone in it.
right.
So
Bella says the 4 bowls that I gave away yesterday, along with the Facebook sale, were part of a set. She says part of a set of 4. Maybe she means part of a larger set. Connie reports DH agreed to get rid of Cooler Box, and we will get rid of it, get rid of a tent, all at the parish flea market.
oh, excellent. somebody will think that, they'll get a bargain to get a tent and you can make that big thing disappear from your life. That is awesome.
Roz says on the subject of, I think this is in response to the dream story.
Oh,
Roz
right.
says, I find the worse you feel from the clutter, the better you feel when you clear it.
100%. That is totally true. I know that when you feel really bad about the clutter, it does make it super, super hard to, get in motion and get in gear. But if you can get over the initial, I've finally gotten started hump, then you really get a lot of relief on the back end. And
Yeah.
that's just borne out with my client work over and over and over again. People are just so happy to be on the other side of the work, and and often say things like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. This was, more fun than I thought it was going to be. This wasn't as big of a deal. So there's so much to be said for just getting past the initial reluctance and getting into it, and then doing the work and staying on it long enough to get to the other end and go, "Whoo, I feel so relieved. I got so much done. I feel so much better." It's totally true.
Well, and I think we could also, we could broaden Roz's statement to say the worse you feel about the clutter, the better you will feel when you clear it.
Yes, that
And
too.
to remind people, you know, if you're feeling this much dread, holding my fingers
Your hand
really
up.
far
Yeah.
away from my thumb for those who are
Right.
listening instead of watching. But if you're dreading it at a high level, you can expect relief at a similarly high level. And so maybe,
Mm-hmm.
set your sights on that, set your sights on the relief, use that expectation to charge you up, to motivate you a little bit. Think
And
about how great it's going to feel when this is out of the way.
to get you going. Exactly.
Marcia says, I made an appointment with an estate sale lady to organize my desires for the sale when the time comes to downsize or liquidate. Got a lot of useful info.
That's good. That's very good. It's helpful to understand because estate sales are an odd business. And it's helpful to understand what exactly you need to do in order to have an estate sale. And the biggest one is when you hand it over to the estate sale person, they are like, you lose ownership of it because it becomes part of the source of the sale. And so you can't come in the middle after they've started the sale and say, "Oh, I'm going to keep that." Like, no, you have to buy it back from yourself if
Right.
it goes into the sale. And so it's really helpful to understand where the lines are between now I own it and now the estate sale is running a sale and I don't really own it anymore. My clients had their big estate sale the past weekend, the job that I worked on for so long. And she told me they had a family night first after the sale was set up. And the family came in and walked around, and there were things that they wanted to take, like they had forgotten photo albums and they had to buy them back. Now you're
Yeah.
paying yourself, right? Because you're
Right,
going to get
right.
the money,
Well, you're
but
paying yourself minus the fairly
minus the
substantial
commission.
chunk that the estate sales managers take.
Yeah, yeah. But still, it's a thought process of it has to be worth at that point. You have to want it bad enough to buy it back. And
Yeah.
so the concept of estate sale changes how you think about your stuff a lot when you go through the process.
M says, I use a lot of kitchen stuff for unkitchen activities having to do with gardening and crafts, etc.
Oh,
Too bad because it gives me an excuse to keep stuff. Well, except, if the stuff you're keeping meets the criteria that you like it and you are finding it useful
mm.
for something, where's the harm? I mean,
And it's not staying in the kitchen anymore. It's staying, where the craft stuff is being done or where the gardening
yeah.
stuff is being done. And so it's even being relocated to a different location. And so,
And I
yeah,
and
yeah.
I know that, M has told us before there's still just too much stuff,
Mm,
but don't feel down on yourself for keeping stuff that is serving a useful purpose for you and
mm,
still works in your system, right?
right. Exactly.
Marcia says, got totally motivated to go through inherited bankers boxes of 5 relatives who passed away before me.
Oh my goodness. That's a lot. And banker's boxes of, was it documents or stuff?
She doesn't say, just inherited bankers boxes of 5 relatives. So, I mean, that's presumably mostly paper, but
Yeah,
that could be anything. That could be genealogical records or personal records, documents, who knows?
right. Exactly.
So maybe she'll tell us what she was getting rid of. Susie says, I agree with Gayle. I don't use that many pots and pans. My sister uses more than I do, but some of the things in the cabinets are not used by either of us.
And therefore they need to go.
Ripe for harvesting.
Definitely ripe for making space in your cabinets,
Yeah,
for the stuff that you're actually using, right?
right. Or just making space in your cabinets because like in small spaces, it's not just an issue of not enough space, but often the space is hard to use effectively.
Mm,
And you get if you stuff everything in there, then every time you want to cook, you spend 4 or 5 minutes extricating the pot that's the
the
one you
pot
want.
in the back, right? It's always
Right,
in the
right,
back.
right. And it's in the back and it's got 4 things nested inside it. Oh, welcome to Jennifer, who says this is her first time being live with us.
Oh,
So
hi, Jennifer. Glad you joined us.
glad you're here. I think we should move on. We're pushing on into our time
Okay.
for the main event. So let's get to that, shall we? Shopping is a source of entertainment, fun, and relaxation for many people. But retail therapy, I'm putting that in quotes, becomes a problem if it contributes to the clutter in our homes. Today, we're going to explore the perils of retail therapy and offer strategies for bringing mindfulness, balance, and care to our shopping habits.
When we started recording videos for this channel so many years ago, a decade ago, it was shocking, a little bit more than a decade ago now, online shopping was much younger and not as prevalent or as easy to do. Amazon existed, but it wasn't such a huge online marketplace for everything as it is today. I can say with full confidence that online shopping has become so quick and so easy to do, so widespread, so ubiquitous that it's hard to find someone who hasn't shopped online for something. And I will add here that anybody that wasn't comfortable shopping online before got comfortable during COVID. So all of the reluctant online shoppers got over it and learned, older people that weren't as comfortable, like they got over it during COVID. Everybody had to do something and they all got online and started doing stuff online. And so the audience for online shopping is big and the appetite for shopping online is huge and well established. So what does that mean for today's topic? It means that you're shopping for fun in an environment that's designed with every trick possible to make you buy what you came for, plus as many other things as possible. Online shopping sites suggest things to buy that go with what you are already putting in your cart.
Or
Things to
something you talked about yesterday at a family barbecue.
exactly, the like collective mind listening to what you're talking about. They suggest things to add to get you to the next free shipping level so that you buy enough, air quotes, to get free shipping. They suggest impulse buys. They throw up that maybe you'd be interested in this kind of stuff. Things that are currently a great price if you buy in bulk, if you buy one, get one kind of thinking. That the idea being that they're suggesting that it'll save money if you do that. Online websites are open 24 hours a day, so you don't have to worry about the store's hours of operations because they are open all the time. There's no barrier to getting in and shopping at 3 o'clock in the morning if you really want to. Companies have made it easier than ever to give over your money without thinking about it for a minute. Like you can just do it, boom, 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 and the transaction is complete. The money's gone, and you're like, what just happened? But it's too late. The money's gone. Aside from the purchase, what else do you get from this shopping spree that you went on that we all do online? One of the downsides that I've found in my clients' homes in particular from all this online shopping is 1,000,000 more cardboard boxes to dispose of. You never go to a store and get a cardboard box. You don't go to the random fill-in Hallmark store, Target store, and come out with a bunch of boxes. You come out with easier to manage bags. But
You might
when
you might leave Aldi with boxes
right,
or
maybe,
Costco.
yeah, that's true. But in general,
Right.
you go in a store, you come out with bags instead of boxes. But Amazon provides this ever expanding mountain of boxes coming into your house. And it's a very unique side effect of online shopping is that it all has to be shipped. And therefore you have 1,000,000 shipping containers and you have tons of packing material to dispose of responsibly. We all get the packing material and it all seems like it's really great packing material. And so then we struggle with, do I throw this out? Can this be recycled? What am I going to do with all this bubble pack? Right. And you end up with all that material that needs to be handled. And again, when you come home from a store that you went to in person, you don't have a bunch of packing material with you to get rid of. The most you have to get rid of is your plastic bag. So it is a unique side effects of online shopping that you get the cardboard boxes and then you get all this packing material you got to manage. Of course, you've lost all the money out of your bank account for your shopping, or you've added to your credit what you owe. And there's a whole lot more volume of backstocked goods to put away somewhere in the house. And when you're trying to get up to the free shipping level and you're adding things into your cart so that you get free shipping, air quotes, then you end up with extra things that you didn't intend to buy and it has to be backstocked somewhere. And you now have this collection, like people buy in particular, like you can only buy 10 of something. You can't get one of an item. You have to buy a pack of 10, for instance. And so then you're going to take out the one that you wanted. And now you have 9 others that you have to go find someplace to put in the house. We also have a lot of stock volume. It's back stock. It's more than you can use before it starts to go bad. Like you buy a whole bunch of them, but then you end up not being able to use them all before it turns, before, if it's perishable goods, before it dies. And even what we think of as non-perishable goods like shampoo, if you keep it long enough, it starts to go bad. It starts to smell funny. And so there's this effect of overbuying more than you're actually even remotely using, and then ending up with stuff that you have to put somewhere in the house, and then you have to throw away some because it's gone bad by the time you get through all of the volume that you bought. And Ed found a great poll that, and this is another side effect of online shopping. He found this great poll that said 59% of shoppers say that companies make it difficult to complain or to return things. So we end up keeping things that we don't want because returning things is a hassle. So I have had people pay me to take returns back on their behalf. So they bought it online, they get it there, they don't like it, it's too much of a hassle to return, and now they're spending money for me to go return it for them. Yeah, like how is that a bargain at all? And if you end up keeping a bunch of stuff, then it's sort of like wasted money because you got something that you didn't really want. And so then you have a disposal problem. Do I keep it in the house? Do I stash it somewhere? Do I donate it? Now I have a chore to do. And so online shopping has created all these back end consequences that are your problem and not Amazon's problem. They've managed to take all of the hassle around shopping and translate it to you so that you get to manage it. And so it is this effective shopping that you don't think about while you're madly clicking the buttons and hitting buy, right? So in other words, you get this short-term dopamine hit of fun, and that is your stress relief, only to replace it immediately with all these other issues instead that we just listed. The dopamine always dissipates really quickly, and the longer-term issues remain. You're buying excitement, which is so fleeting, while the lost money is permanent. It's permanently lost, and the created storage issues are long-term, and the disposal issues are long-term. And so while you're madly clicking on the button, you're creating a back end collection of things to manage, which is a pain. And conveniently, the online shopping environment does not say, oh, by the way, we're going to send you a box and a bunch of material that you have to keep up with, and here's the 8 things you ordered, and good luck putting it in your house. They don't really care. So there's issues with in-person shopping too. We frequently hear the advice that you shouldn't go to the grocery store when you're hungry. But again, Ed found some great research. It turns out that you should be careful about doing any kind of shopping when you're hungry. Research shows that individuals that shop while they're hungry are not just more likely to purchase food products that were not originally on their shopping list. In fact, hungry shoppers are likely to have increased spending on non-food items as well. So the fact that you're hungry just means that your brain isn't working well enough and you don't make good decisions and you impulse buy more, regardless of whether it's food or not. Now, clearly the effect if you're in the grocery store and you're hungry is that you buy more food. But there's also lots of non-food products in the grocery store. So
Well, and now Target has a grocery store in there, and Walmart has, of course, for a long time, and so people will go to shop for groceries at Walmart, but if you're hungry, you're not only going to buy more food than you needed, you're susceptible, and the people who did that research were speculating that it's not even just that your blood sugar's low, or that you're in a weak moment.
right.
It's more that the being hungry puts you into this mindset of I need stuff. I need
to acquire.
I need to acquire. I need to gather. It's like it's triggering an instinctive behavior to gather stuff.
And you don't really care what you gather, as
Right.
long as you're
Right.
gathering something. I can see that. That makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. So you don't have the same reward for when you're hungry. I don't think that it affects online shopping in the same kind of way. When you're in a store and you're hungry, then you're able to reach out and touch and grab things, and you're going to grab food. But then, like the research says, it also triggers you to just sort of grab everything. So aside from being hungry, there are times when our emotional state makes us more susceptible to impulse or emotional purchases. It's really better to check your emotional state before you head out to a store. Don't
We
shop.
could sort of talk about it as, an emotional type of hunger. If you sit down at the computer with, if you sit down at the computer with unsatisfied desires, with a frame of mind that I need something to comfort me,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to be similar to going to the grocery store hungry.
Right? Exactly. And it's really better to check your emotional state before you head out if you're going to go or sit down at the computer. Don't shop when you're overtired. Don't shop when you're angry or sad. I think those feelings really short circuit your ability to make considered purchases, and it instead pushes you towards impulsive buying, hoping to improve your mood. Like, we've all done that. That's the nature of retail therapy, right? I'm going to go have fun shopping, and that's going to improve my bad mood. But I think really being in that emotional state that is compromised in some way, sad, angry, hungry, tired, those positions in your brain basically take off all the filtering. And so you stop being able to filter your thoughts, you stop being able to filter your impulses, and you stop being able to stay focused on the list, for instance, or to have a goal in mind. All of that sort of crumbles in the face of I'm angry or sad, and I want to shop in order to make myself feel better. And then the purpose of going in with the list and shopping sort of goes out the window because you're being you're being short circuited by those feelings. And so it's important to try to manage shopping in relationship to where your emotional state is in any given moment.
Catherine commented, don't shop if you've had a couple of drinks as well.
Excellent advice. That is very good advice. Because of
or a
course,
couple of puffs, or whatever your
right?
intoxicant or sedative of choice.
Mood altering drug is. Well, and that's the thing. It's like alcohol is such a sedative, and talk about removing filters.
Right.
Alcohol's been removing filters from time immemorial, right? So not a good time to go shopping, because you're going to wake up and go, where did this car come from? Like, you don't want to be doing that. Sorry, I'm having so much allergy stuff today. I'm a little gravelly. This was a suggestion that we got from one of our watchers, which was some of us have a weakness for a particular store. So, for example, book lovers have trouble going into a bookstore without buying a book. Like, they love books so much, and if they go into a bookstore, they lose their ability to control purchasing. I'm the same way about a bead store. If I go into a bead store, some beads are coming out with me. I have no need to be buying any more beads ever. And so the only way that I can avoid doing that is not being in a bead store, because it's super easy for me to go, oh, look, it's shiny. And then it comes up with me.
It's
And
so
so
pretty.
recognizing those particular triggers for yourself, like the person that was posting this was saying, I have to avoid bookstores because I know if I go in, I'll buy a book. I get it. And planning for that and going to a bookstore at a specific point, and not just as a wandering, entertainment, is the only way to control that urge. She also suggested that she struggled with charity resale stores because there was a pressure for her to support the charity by buying something from the store. And I thought, what an interesting point of view. I had never thought about that. But if you're going into a resale store and you know that they're supporting a cause, like this is the resale store for this women's shelter or whatever, it does create a little bit of a pressure to be supporting them in the work that they do by buying something out of the shop. And so I think you can support that charity by donating stuff to the shop instead of the other way around. So she just suggested that was a particular trigger for her, and vulnerability, that there is an implied pressure to support the charity when you go in a resale store. And I hadn't ever thought about that, but I can see why that might be an issue for her. Here's a shopping trigger twist that catches us both online and in our store shopping. And it's a concept that Ed found related to shopping that neither of us had heard named this way before. It was new for both of us. The word is spaving, spaving, which is a conflated version of spending money to save money. Companies often present ways to spend more to save more. So the end result is, of course, that we have spent more and you have to store more. This is a lot of people go, but it's a good deal. But if I buy 10 of these, I get more of a discount. It's like, yeah. And you've also more cash has left your bank account. And now you have to store 10 items instead of 2.
Right.
And I'm not sure that it's worth it.
Well, and the very seductive, you only need to spend $13 more to get free shipping. That one,
such an artificial thing. And they have just like totally tapped into all of our, oh my gosh, we don't want to miss out on the deal. We don't want to, surely I'm going to use this stuff eventually. So I should go ahead and buy 20 when all I really need is 1. Like, oh my gosh, you have no idea how many times as I'm helping somebody in their house that they come back and say, here, I only needed 1 of these and I had to buy 10, and I'm not going to use these other 8. And it's like, okay, then we got to donate it away. So really you've spent extra money in order to donate it on the back end to somebody else. So while the recipient, I'm sure, appreciates it, do you really want to give up your money in that way where you're forced to donate on the back end? I think it's such an incredible trick. And spaving is, we all succumb to that. Like, I couldn't pass it up. It was a great deal, right? I needed to buy these because I wanted to get the bulk price. And it's like they say, here, because it costs you this much to have 1. and then it's going to cost you this much per to have 10. And don't you really want to pay the lesser price? It's like, yeah, but I got to spend 10 times the amount of money I was going to spend in order to save that money.
Right.
And how is that really worth it? Like in the short term, you're out way more money than you intended to when you went into the store that day. And so,
and there's also the oh, lost the phrase I was going to use. There's also the, there are the other costs that their statement of the sale price are not, they're not, you're not thinking about them. You're not thinking about, well, if I will, some of them expire before I use 10. How many of these things am I going to end up throwing away or giving away because I didn't really need 10? How many are going to, how many
exactly.
are going to spoil? How many are going to just gather dust? And then the unstated and uncalculated cost of the room it's going to take up in your house, the room it's going to take in your pantry or your closet for all the time that you're going to warehouse it.
Right.
So it's a false economy was the phrase I was looking for.
Yeah, there you go.
That sale price is a false economy. Yeah, you're getting a lower unit price, assuming you use them all in a timely manner, and they're not creating other inconveniences for you.
Exactly.
Getting in the way of how you want to live your life.
And if you think about it, if you buy 10 and you only use 5, then you really haven't realized the implied savings of all 10, right?
Right, exactly.
You end up with it not ever getting close to the per unit price that they promised you.
The unit price that they told you were spending. Let me share a couple comments before we go on.
Okay.
Beth says, I love this one. Had a friend who shopped while in an altered state and realized the next day that she had bought an elaborate and very expensive Wonder Woman costume.
Awesome.
So
That's so funny.
She was taking something obviously that made her feel like a superhero at the time,
and then needed a costume to go with that feeling. That's amazing. I love that. And you don't want to wake up the next day and go, whoops, sorry, I didn't really mean to buy that costume, right? Yeah. This is a shopping, like I said, they make the environment super easy for you to click and have something come in your way without thinking about it too hard. And the end result is, you end up with stuff you didn't intend to have, and you spend money you didn't spend to lose. That's so funny.
Elizabeth, who's with us on Facebook, has a couple of great comments. She says, someone wrote in a Facebook Aldi group, Aldi, where you go in for bread and eggs and come out with bread, eggs, and a trumpet.
That's good.
And then she also said, about good deals, my father used to say, I can't afford to save that much money.
Right? That's exactly right. And if you think about it that way, like the amount that you would spend for the 10 to get the savings, get the spaving, right?
Right.
Is so much higher than the amount you're going to buy for 1. And so you're saving the difference between the 1 and the 10. In this moment, you're saving that money. And it's not leaving your bank account, which is the important part. And so although it may be a higher price, you're putting off spending that money until way in the future, the next time you need a bottle of shampoo. And so you are keeping your money now and spending it later, which is excellent. Okay. Can we go on?
Yes, please.
Okay. So what can you do to manage your shopping better and make it more mindful instead of random and out of control? We have a little list here. Stick to a shopping list. Going on the scavenger hunt that is your shopping list inserts the game of finding things into your shopping and helps you avoid too much extra unfocused wandering around. So you may still grab extras on the way, but checking your list is still a focus exercise that can help you stay on target. You look at the list, you say, the next thing on the list is this. Where is it in the store? I go to that part of the store, I find that thing. So you're sort of doing this hunt for, I have it on the list, I got to find it in the store. And you're spending your energy finding something in the store instead of wandering up and down the aisles looking to see if anything catches your eye. So it is a good distraction. It does make it kind of a gamification. Finding things for the shopping list is a little bit of gamification of your shopping. And it inserts a few distractions from just random walking and grabbing. You can also commit to sticking to a budget or a spending plan. So create a budget for each category of stuff for which you routinely shop, and use a budget tracking app to categorize and track purchases to stay within the limits you've set. You might also establish a budget specifically for the part of shopping that you consider retail therapy, unplanned purchases of items that aren't on a list. So if you can assume that you're going to do a little bit of, retail therapy, just make that be part of your budget and make it be part of the plan, so that you're going, okay, I am now going to release myself to do, unplanned shopping, to do retail therapy. I allocated $30 for that and in this month's budget, and I'm about to go spend it. And
you can put that on your list too, as something just for me, $30 limit.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So that you're still maintaining the discipline of using your shopping list.
Right. And giving yourself a little grace around needing retail therapy.
Right, right.
But trying to be more controlled about it and have it be more planned and considered than otherwise. Right. You can focus your retail therapy on things that you need rather than things that you want. If you're using shopping as a way to lift your mood, buying groceries, toiletries, or cleaning supplies can still scratch that itch. Check out a new or unfamiliar store, experiment with a different brand. The novelty of the experience can produce the same psychological benefits without adding to your clutter or breaking your budget. You still don't want to overload yourself with a ton of backstock, like months worth of toilet paper. But you can look to your repeated use items and replenish them as a reason to shop a bit as a mood lifter. Try window shopping. Window shopping is a great way to get the shopping boost without the stuff actually coming home with you, especially if you do it while the stores are closed. You can walk around window shopping as a form of exercise too, or just flip catalogs or browse online without actually buying. Make it a conscious goal to look, but to not purchase. And see if you can get the same improvement in mood with just, looking at the images and seeing the pretty pictures. The research supports the idea that window shopping can create the same mood improvement. It appears to offer the same benefits. So give it a shot. Go online with the idea that I'm not actually going to buy anything. I'm just going to look at pictures. We look at pictures on our phone all the time. We go on YouTube and Instagram. We look at stuff, and all we're doing is looking at pictures. So you might as well go shopping and just look at pictures and see if it makes you feel better without actually buying anything. Before any kind of a major purchase, like the super extra fancy Wonder Woman costume, schedule a cooling off period before you make that major purchase. Putting things in a shopping cart now, but waiting to buy them can take the pull of the advertisement and the presentation out of it. Often when you go back to read about the item a second time, familiarity breeds contempt. Now the write-up isn't fresh and some of the emotional pull is faded. The same is true in a store. When the item isn't part of the big display, but it's dumped in your shopping cart, some of the allure is gone. And pausing and reflecting again before you actually check out can help you focus more clearly on your purchases and think a bit harder about why you think you need something. You can see if was this item actually on my shopping list? If by definition probably isn't. And then you can have that conversation with yourself about, I'm standing in front of the checkout going, do I really want to get in line and pay for this thing or not? Give yourself a little moment and think about it again before you go on. Avoid the places that tempt you to impulse shopping. So like I said, I can look at beady things and I want to buy beads no matter what. And so I don't you can get in Facebook groups and buy things in Facebook groups. I stay out of those Facebook groups. You can avoid the places where you know that your impulse to buy without thinking is very heavily triggered.
My
Just
my favorite art supply store in Chattanooga just closed their doors after 50 years.
oh my goodness, really?
Yeah. And
Oh no.
so I am saving money because there's no joy for me in shopping at a place like Michael's.
Right, no.
Going in a place that has 10 acres of art supplies, I'm just overwhelmed. And this was just a little storefront that had one room full of art supplies crammed in,
Yeah, a
everything
little
was
bit.
packed, every inch of shelves was just full of stuff. But they're gone, so no more art supply shopping for me anytime soon.
Oh, there you go. Well, and that's a forced way to keep you from buying extra art
Right?
supplies. But you can accomplish the same things by avoiding those stores that you have low resistance to. For me, it's beady stores, and I know
Yeah.
that that's my resistance, that I practically have no resistance for beads. So I just need to not put myself in the place to shop.
Here's a great suggestion from JB, and this is regarding online shopping. JB says, read the one-star reviews first.
Oh, what a great idea
It's a that's a great way to,
to blow
have
through the advertising
a
allure.
reality check, put
Yes.
this reality check of one-star reviews against all the things the manufacturer wants you to believe about the product.
Right. What a great idea. Talk about throwing cold water on the fire. Man, that is a great idea. Because, aside from the fact that one-star reviews are often funny to read, you
Right?
can distract yourself from, I'm being hypnotized by the glitter and the glitz and the lights, and it's all fabulous, right? And then you get the reality of this came and it didn't work and it was stupid and I was sorry that I bought it. And you get a little like, oh yeah, that's really what's happening. This pig has a lot of lipstick on it and I don't need to buy it. And so what a great idea. I love that. That's it. My next suggestion was to bring a friend along, but a friend who's enrolled in helping you not overspend. And one-star reviews is your online friend to prevent you from buying things you don't need. Don't bring a friend that encourages you to overspend. You definitely want to bring a friend that you guys are on board with, we're not going to get anything we don't need. And
Right.
then, take that friend out to
Don't
eat.
take your enabler shopping.
Right. It's not a good thing. And don't be afraid to return things. I know it's an extra chore, but returning an item when we've changed our mind is a normal part of shopping. And most stores have return policies to deal with that situation. Go in a store, you walk up and, here's the counter for taking things back. And so you don't have to feel guilty about it or embarrassed about it, about making a return. If a store asks you why you're returning the item, it's perfectly fine to say, I decided that I don't need it. Going to the store to return keeps you in a return line and not shopping. So maybe by the time you're done returning, you're annoyed enough to get out of the store and not buy anything else. So do the returns, pay attention. There's time limits on them, of course. You have to do it quickly. But if you can consider that, you're getting paid to take something back. When you go and return something, they give you money. You get your money back. And so there is a bonus payoff for going and doing the hassle of a return, which is you get cash. And so treat it like a game. If I go and return this, I get money back and I erase my impulse buy that was not a good choice and make it disappear. And maybe that'll help you be more willing to return.
Maureen says, my daughter asked what I wanted for Mother's Day, and I said, help me clean out the garage. We
Ooh.
need we need a new garage door motor, and with my parents' furniture, bikes, sleds, golf clubs, and yard items, Magellan couldn't get from one side to the other. Much was thrown away. Daughter was a little vicious, no doubt thinking if she didn't get rid of it now, she might be doing it later.
Yes, 100%. And you did ask for family help. So good on you for asking. And I'm glad that you let her do what she needed to do. She was vicious and you noticed it, but you had her attention. She was willing to work, and then she did a bunch of work for you. And so that is awesome. And I'm super proud of you for asking. And what a great, that Mother's Day gift was super easy for her. No money involved. So good job. Really proud of you.
Tess Marie says, my retail therapy is Costco for supplies, mostly fresh produce and milk, plus impulse buys that are legit since I made a personal rule to never use Starbucks or the like, nor go out to eat ever. I decided that it's okay to impulse buy needed bulk goods since I won't be spending on fast foods or out to eat anything.
Okay, I'm good with that negotiation. If you're
Yeah,
okay with the bulk stuff that you bring home and you have places to store it and you're comfortable with that, I think that's a reasonable trade-off. So good for you. But what I'm saying is good for you that you're still making a plan about it. You're saying I'm substituting A for B. I'm not going to spend money over here. I am going to spend money over here. And this is why and how. And so you're still doing it with a plan in mind, which then, means that you have more control over what's going on. So proud of you. That's a good job.
Jill says, I rarely need retail therapy, but when I do, I go to Amazon or Barnes and Noble and shop for free ebooks. No spending, no clutter except tablet memory, which is easily cleared.
There you go. Good job. I like it. Is there a lot of free stuff? I guess sometimes they run like free weekends and stuff.
Well, there are lots of
Is there
there
public domain stuff?
well no there's public domain stuff, yeah, and there's also just promotional stuff. People will put something in a newsletter and run a promotion on it where it's maybe 99 cents, or there are several different subscriptions, email subscriptions you can sign up for that will tell you where bargain books are, and
Gotcha.
they
Okay.
often have one or two free ones, and then things that are for 99 cents or $1.99.
Right. So we have somebody with their hand up. Hi, Pat.
Excellent.
Hi. As far as return goes, I find that if I can return it to a FedEx store or a UPS store, then you're not shopping again. And
There is a very good point.
yeah, and also I think it's Walmart that I just did a scheduled return pickup from my home,
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
that's
was
cool.
which was free.
Right? So they came and got it from you and took it
Yeah.
away?
Yes, and then they just scan the barcode at my
Awesome.
front door and take it away.
That's awesome. I
And
love that.
Yep, did not have to be boxed up or anything.
That is super great.
Yep. And then
see, that keeps you out of the store.
right. And then as far as the there was a comment about Audible. I had signed up for them and gotten 5 free books also, but now I have a library card and I can get free Audible books from the library.
There you go. That's awesome. Free books from the library is always a bonus, right?
Right.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. I really like the idea of if you take the return to the FedEx or the UPS store, you're not going in a store. And so you're not then, triggered to continue shopping after you return. That's a bonus thing for sure.
Bridget says, I love to do groceries online. Step 1, look into the app for special offers every week. 2, I make a 1-week list of what we have for dinner. 3, I fill in my shopping list and never have to stand in the shops for hours. Do not have to tow anything anymore. And I spend ever so much less than if I am in the shops, which was always impulsive and without any plan. Biggest plus, hubby does not need to ask what we eat every day. Yay.
Because there it is already. Good job. That's excellent. We need to throw the tittle in before we go.
Yes, you're right. Okay, sorry. And we also need to talk about next week. I didn't even realize how late it has gotten.
Yes.
So let me talk for a moment about next week. Sometimes we make our lives harder by tying ourselves up in knots, confusing the problems we need to solve with our emotional responses to them. Next week, we're going to suggest strategies for cutting through emotional tangles to arrive at creative, practical solutions to clutter problems. Watch your email for an announcement of that episode, which will be next week, Tuesday, May 21st at the usual time, noon US Central. Why don't you give us the tittle?
This week's tittle is when the going gets tough, the tough declutter shopping. This week's assignment is to clear one or more items of shopping related clutter from your space. Do you have a return waiting to go back to the store? Make a plan and get that task done this week. If you have a shopping bag that hasn't been unpacked in your pantry or closet, I know you do. It's time to tackle that chore. If you're planning a retail therapy session this week, take a few minutes to make a list and to set a spending limit before you hit the stores or go online to shop. Decide in advance how much you'll allow your retail therapy to cost you. And if none of the situations above apply to you, take a look around your house for a previous purchase that you now regret. Recycle, donate, or give away that item. And let's see if we can, have an impact about the crazy shopping that's happened in your life and get some of it back out again. And then come back next week and tell us how it went.
All right. If you're watching this on YouTube, we would love for you to join us live. To get notifications about upcoming events, we invite you to join the meetup group by visiting cfhou.com/meetup. You can also follow us on Facebook by visiting cfhou.com/Facebook, or join our mailing list by visiting cfhou.com/subscribe. We love to hear from you, so please keep your questions, comments, and topic suggestions coming on YouTube, Facebook, or anywhere that you find us. You can always reach us through our website at clutterfairyhouston.com.
Thanks everybody for joining us today to talk about shopping and how it makes your house more cluttered. We want to help you think about that differently, and I hope we gave you some suggestions today. And come back and tell us how it affected you over the week, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.